This is the nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, the USS Enterprise. From a deck of almost 4.5 acres, the Enterprise can launch in a single strike over 500,000 pounds of conventional explosives. The Enterprise can move its arsenal from sea to sea at the rate of 600 miles per day without the need to pause and refuel. One of the most versatile and lethal air bases in the world. During peace, the Navy trains, tests, and evaluates its capabilities through games called fleet exercises. In these exercises, our own submarines play the role of the hostile. None are more silent, swift, or deadly. From the very outset, the submarine enjoys a major tactical advantage: the ability to move through the world's oceans unseen. To be declared the victor, the submarine commander must demonstrate his ability to locate surface targets, then properly position himself for the subsequent attack and escape. Unlike older submarines, which had to close to within yards of a target to make a kill, the modern-day sub can strike from as far away as 100 miles. Ever since World War II, air power has been essential for achieving victory at sea, a fact that will not be overlooked by the submarine commander. For air power is not only the key to sea control, but the submarine's most lethal foe.
Admiral, the threat sector depicted is based on the last known contact area the submarine was contacted in.
The Admiral's briefing begins by reviewing the current threat.
We'll be reducing this threat sector this afternoon with S-3 flights into the area.
And the most immediate threat is always the submarine.
56 degrees and a layer depth of around 200 feet.
Okay, now I want to be sure that we stay outside the 1,000-fathom curve to ensure that we have CZ capability before we have to make the turn point and run for the launch.
Yes, sir. In this area, the 1,000-fathom curve runs from roughly this position here, southeasterly along the California coast to about down in here.
Very well.
The sea control mission begins by establishing air supremacy over the waters to be neutralized. This is the combined responsibility of the E-2 Hawkeye early warning aircraft and the Navy's air superiority fighter, the F-14 Tomcat. Day and night, they work as a team, protecting the task force from a surprise air or surface attack. The Tomcat's AUG-9 fire control system is the most formidable ever mounted in a fighter aircraft. On its radar, the F-14 can simultaneously lock on and track as many as 24 targets. Targets that can be attacked concurrently with 6 long-range Phoenix missiles, or singularly with Sparrow and Sidewinder missiles, and finally with 20-millimeter Gatling guns. Early detection capability allows the F-14 to lock onto fighter-size aircraft at ranges exceeding 100 miles, and with its look-down capability to detect low-flying cruise missiles at 70 miles. The Phoenix missile has repeatedly shot down drones at ranges beyond 70 miles. At 30,000 feet above the carrier task force, the E-2's powerful radar scans the sea and sky for hundreds of miles in every direction. Long before any contact can pose a threat, it is noted and electronically evaluated. Should the contact prove hostile, the E-2 coordinates the F-14 intercept. In the air, above the task force, this is the shield. But on the high seas, the ultimate challenge of the sea control mission emanates from below the surface. Over blue water beyond the range of land-based patrol aircraft, the primary responsibility for detecting, then neutralizing the submarine threat belongs to this airplane, the S-3A Viking. It is the other half of the shield. Manned by a crew of 4, this highly automated plane is the most advanced anti-submarine aircraft in the world. Utilizing an onboard digital computer, the S-3 Viking provides the CV task force a self-contained, high-speed data processing system that can look beyond the furthest horizons and into the deepest oceans. Using underwater listening devices called sonobuoys, the Viking's Senso operator monitors the ocean depths for any sign of the sea's most lethal fish, the submarine.
Buoy 5's up and sweep.
In addition to what the Senso operator can hear, these underwater sounds are electronically displayed, showing what no eye could otherwise see.
Buoy 8 sour, no RF.
Roger. We'll replace it when our initial pattern is in.
The TACO, assisted by the S-3's multitude of sensor systems, directs the Viking crew in this hunt, a hunt that starts hundreds of miles ahead of the carrier task force. Utilizing computer logic, a net-like pattern of sonobuoys is laid across the carrier's path, a screen that will be continuously advanced to precede the CV's every movement. The faulty buoy will be replaced before moving on. Flying at the van of the task force, the S-3 is frequently the first to detect a surface threat. Thus, the Viking has been extensively equipped to perform the surface surveillance mission.
We have a surface contact at 150 miles, through heading of 140 degrees. Corresponds to traffic reported earlier.
The Viking's APS 116 high-resolution radar can detect surface ships at long range and is especially effective at spotting periscope-sized targets, even in high sea states.
I've inserted a second contact.
If the Viking locates a target with radar and wants to track the contact without creating its own electronic emissions, it can switch over to the passive FLIR system. This infrared-generated image provides the S-3 crew a TV-like picture, even in fog or total darkness.
Looks like a plain old merchant.
Even more effective at detecting a possible threat at long range is the Viking's Electronic Support Measures, or ESM. This system passively detects electronic emissions, such as radar. Then, using the onboard computer, a reference library classifies the type of emission detected.
ESM confirms it as a surface, non-hostile.
Okay, go ahead and report it anyway.
The S-3 radio communications systems range from data link, HF, line of sight UHF, to secured.
Roger, got a group 4, no unusual configurations or signals.
Behind the Vikings and beneath the E-2 Hawkeyes and the F-14s begins the carrier's third line of defense. High-speed missile cruisers, frigates, and destroyers, all armed with a multitude of long and short range, surface-to-surface, and surface-to-air missiles. In addition to their own anti-submarine systems, these escort ships are home base for the ASW-equipped SH-2F Lamps helicopters. Still miles beyond a submarine's effective strike range, these ship-based helos can deploy their own sonobuoys or monitor those that were dropped earlier by the S-3 Vikings. Still beyond torpedo range, carrier-based SH-3H Sea Kings make one last check of the water below before allowing the carrier to pass. Armed with acoustic homing torpedoes, these helicopters are lethal to any submarine that might work its way past the primary line of detection. The final defensive barrier is provided by the aircraft carrier's own basic point defense systems. With decoy and electronic jamming systems, the carrier's defenses are further enhanced. The responsibility for both the defensive and offensive posture of the task force rests with the Admiral and his staff. The Admiral's primary source of intelligence, the basis on which he makes his tactical decisions, comes from the carrier's Combat Information Center, or CIC. To handle the immense flow of data generated by the task force's numerous sensor platforms, the CIC is highly automated. In seconds, a computer diagnostic command can assist in determining how best to close a gap in the task force's defenses or attack a revealed threat. Another data processing center is the Tactical Support Center, or TSC. The TSC monitors the ASW aircrafts on station activities and coordinates their tactics. As each flight returns, its recorded data is evaluated on the TSC's high-speed displays, a process which immensely speeds up debriefings and isolates tactical errors. On this enlarged display, the trained eye can perceive details that may have been missed by the flight crew, details that may reveal the presence of a submarine. On yet another processor, enlarged hard copies of the acoustic grams are reproduced, allowing even a closer analysis. Together, these multiple layers of the carrier's defense are all but impregnable. Though the S-3 is a primary component in the interlocking elements of the defense system, its position at the forefront of the task force requires that it perform its primary mission completely independent of outside support. Alone, the Viking must detect and analyze, then localize and destroy any subsurface threat. But today, it is only an exercise. A small explosive device called SUS will be dropped to advise the hostile that he has been found and attacked.
Climax X-ray, Dragonfire 1, coordinated attack, 3440 north, 12010 west, at time 1705 Zulu.
By the rules of the game, the submarine must now surface, acknowledging the kill.
Attack successful. We have a nuke in the process of surfacing.
How many submarines does that make now?
That'll be 2 threat submarines that we know of in the area this time.
Okay.
The primary use of the power projection mission in peacetime is to demonstrate capability, to reveal a flexible source of military strength as a warning to a potential hostile that his interest would be best served by the conference table, not the hazards of war. The carrier has now turned toward land. Cruising slowly, her screws emit little sound for distant submarines to detect her presence. The escort ships have moved beyond the horizon, presenting the minimal satellite or radar target. Operating at reduced altitudes, the CV's air cover maintains a low profile as the task force creeps forward for the final exercise of the game. There is little need to hurry, for unlike the carrier that is here 1 hour and gone the next, the land-based target is fixed, a geographical spot that cannot escape. "200 miles to the southeast, a patrolling Dragonfire makes the first contact on the defensive perimeter of the hostile forces. The S-3's co-pilot has detected a weak electronic emission on his ESM system.
I'm getting some ESM activity. Air search radar. Maybe those ships that CVIC said were still in the harbor got out last night and are now looking for us.
Yeah, the timing would be about right.
Climax X-ray, Dragonfire 2.
Computer
over.
processing and signature comparison has identified this emission as ship-based air search radar.
Classifying them as hostile.
Utilizing line-of-sight transmission, the task force is alerted. These are the carrier's major offensive weapons, the attack aircraft. They are the sword. The all-weather A6 Intruder. And the close support, light attack aircraft, the A7 Corsair. Armed with computer-guided missiles and smart bombs, led to the target by advanced navigational systems, where closing speeds and distances are measured by Doppler radar and laser beams, these planes can strike with accuracy never before achieved in tactical warfare. Decommissioned ships are today's target. This A6 strike demonstrates the awesome force of modern conventional weapons. Flying low to avoid radar detection, the main strike approaches the beach. Since repeated attacks are no longer necessary to assure the neutralization of hard targets, small sorties are frequently the rule. In inclement weather, the mission is assigned to the all-weather day or night attack aircraft, the A6 Intruder. On his infrared display, the A6 second officer can see through rain, fog, or the darkness of night. Once he has selected his target, he will guide his weapon to it with laser beam accuracy. And only the mighty B-52s carry a larger bomb load. The pilots of the A7 Corsairs must merely place their aiming reticle on the target. An onboard computer will automatically release his selected weapon at the precise instant to ensure the maximum target accuracy. With laser and electronic guided weapons, the A7's accuracy is even further improved. As the attack rages below, the F-14s guard the sky above. On its variable geometry wings, it's the equal of any fighter in the world. The Tomcat is an air superiority fighter. While the battle rages over land, the scope and diversity of the threats aimed at the task force are evaluated. In this age of increasing dependency on foreign markets and overseas resources, the value of fleet exercises cannot be underestimated. For to do so could bring to pass a prophecy made by the Commander-in-Chief of the Soviet Navy. He has said, "The flag of the Soviet Navy flies over the oceans of the world. Sooner or later, the United States will have to understand it no longer has mastery of the seas." Freedom of the seas, not mastery, is the naval mission of America. For freedom of the seas, like all freedoms, is no more assured than our ability to protect it.